Hold on everybody, it took me over 24 months to start becoming profitable, and over this journey I have actually learned the 5 key rules that you guys need to follow in order to become a consistently profitable trader. Oh, before we start as well, I just want you guys to understand that I want you guys to stay until the end because these rules are actually very important, and maybe if you guys skip a few minutes you might end up ruining your chances to become a much profitable trader. Also, when I'm going to be discussing about the rules, I'll be showing you guys this specific trade breakdown as well, in which I actually incorporated my trading rules in this specific trade. Oh, don't worry as well, I actually did set this trade as a limit entry, as a signal. You can actually take a look over this pop-up right now that this is the trade that actually ran pretty good with an RR of over 3 RR and over 150 pips in profit. So let's get straight into it. So rule number 1, you guys should develop a solid trading plan. You guys should be able to establish your clear entry and clear exit based on your solid analysis, being able to understand your position sizing and your target profit, and being able to stick to the plan and avoid impulsive decisions. Now, during this specific trade here, the thing that I did, where I actually did stick to my trading plan, because why? Listen closely. What I did over here is, if I'm going to be trading, okay, I'm going to be doing this trade breakdown real quick. I'm going to be incorporating everything onto the 5 key rules that I did to become a much profitable trader. So, looking into the daily, I understood that the market structure was obviously bullish. Like the trend was very strong as bullish. So that means that if I start to take short positions, it's gonna be very risky. Okay, so if I start to take longs, that means I'm gonna be with the trend, but if I end up taking shorts, that's gonna be such a high risk setup. So what I did next is I just did my analysis on the H4. Looking into the H4 time frame, market structure was obviously very bullish. There's not a single sign of bearishness. Now, if you try to go to the H1 time frame, what do we actually see in the H1? You can see that in the 1 hour time frame, we can see some structural shifts in the market. Although we did see some bullish impulse over here, we also did see some breakdowns over here, as well, with a wick close. It's not really that strong, but it's also more than enough for me to start to capitalize in this trade for a potential scalp to the downside. So looking into this one right here, the next step that I did was actually put it in my head that if I try to take an entry over this setup, it's gonna be high risk. If it's a high risk setup, that means that we cannot hold this trade all the way up to 10 RR. That means that we gotta be quick. We gotta be doing quick in and out when we take the setup, because it is a high risk setup. We're not in line with the daily, we're not in line with the weekly, we're not even in line with the H4, but we're only in line with the H1. The H1 time frame is bearish. So that means if we can actually capitalize on taking short positions, we should actually exit immediately. Now you can actually see that when I mentioned the 5 key rules, this is one of the main important rule, which is developing a solid trading plan. This is my trading plan right here. I told myself that I'm like, okay, I was able to identify the higher time frame direction. I was able to identify what type of quality this setup is, which is deemed as high risk. So my trading plan in my head is like, I want to be getting into the market quick, and I want to be getting out the market fast as well. A quick and in and out setup. So the next step, I want you guys to understand that the second important rule to become a profitable trader is being able to manage your risk effectively. Remember, that is a second rule. You guys should understand that trading is a game where the one that manages his risk the best is the one that stays in the game longer. Trading is not a sprint, everybody. Trading is a marathon, okay? You want to be compounding your gains slowly and slowly. That is the game of trading. Now, looking into this one right now, I actually did manage my risk. If you guys take a look at the setup right now, there's going to be a pop-up again. It would actually say that my setup is actually deemed as quote-unquote high risk, since it is a counter trend trade setup, which I specifically mentioned over there. Now, the third important rule that you guys should be having in order to become a profitable trader is to focus on risk to reward ratio. A risk to reward ratio is very important. What I really love to preach is I would always break even every single time if I'm up 1:1, but I would love to trim a lot when I'm on 1:2. So speaking about risk to reward ratio, let's take a look into this specific trade right now and how did I actually capitalize onto this setup. Now, basing onto the pop-up right now, you can see that my entry limit that I actually did send out was at 2587.60. So let's take a look right here, 2587.60 right here, and our stop loss, okay, was over at 2591.60. so we want to be putting that over there right here, right? And you can see that our main TP, let's see, our TP3 was all the way up to this one right here, and even TP4 was all the way right here, right? So that is gonna be the TP4. You can see that this entire trade was actually a 1:3.77 RR. I was actually aiming a little bit to like 1 to 4, right? But yeah, 1 to 2 or above is really more than enough. Like it is actually pretty good already. Even 1 to 1 is good only if your win rate is high. But if you want to be having some flexibility, 1 is 2, 1 to 3 is more than enough. And you guys should not remember the plan. Remember the first rule that I mentioned. Create a trading plan. My trading plan here is that this is a high risk counter trade trend setup. So that means that I cannot hold this for more than 10R, more than 500 pips. That means I'm just gonna be doing a quick in and out. So this is why I was specifically targeting just 1 to 3.71 for my final TP. So the next thing, after understanding my risk to reward ratio, the next step that you should be doing, or the next rule, is to stay emotionally disciplined. You should be learning from your losses without revenge trading, and then maintaining a long-term consistency over short-term wins and losses. That is exactly why I said trading is a game of marathon. It is not a sprint, guys. It is not a sprint. So during this moment, why did I want to mention stay emotionally disciplined? Is because every time I do my trades now, I always do set and forget. That's what I always love to do. So I set my limit. Now if you take a look into the pop-up right now on the screen, we can see that over here there's actually a time that said 9:03 p.m. I did set my signal at 9 p.m. flat. So on to this candle, when this candle was still being printed, I already did set my signal. So you did have a little bit of like 45 minutes breathing room, 30 minutes to follow my limit. Right now, after I did send that, and I'm sure you guys are wondering how did I find that zone. Well, it's very simple. I just went to the 30 minutes, right? I just found this key level right here, but I actually did some refinement. So what I did is, prior to looking to this key level, I realized that it was actually from the candle to the left, which was this candle right here. So what I did was I just used this specific candle as my entry, because why? You can see that it got tapped once over here and then fell. So there's a high chance it will respect this level again before going down. So that is exactly why I marked that level, and I placed my SL to like 40 pips for a little bit of breathing room. So this one right here, this is specifically what I mean, is that we got filled exactly 9:45. So yeah, you did have 45 minutes of breathing room to follow my entry. And remember, if you guys do want to follow my trading signals, make sure you guys join Surge Notifies actually down in the description down below. So anyway, moving on to the video, like I specifically said, set and forget and stay emotionally disciplined. That is such an important rule that made the biggest switch into my entire profitability journey. So with this, what I did is, I'm sure that majority of people, if they're not emotionally disciplined, is once they saw this one candle right here, they're like, okay guys, that's a very strong bullish engulfing candle in the 5 minutes. I'm really scared, man. That's such a very strong candle. Maybe I'm gonna exit some slight losses. I'm gonna end up longing here. But me, I myself, with a trading plan, following on the previous rules, me with a solid trading plan, I was able to manage my risk effectively. I was able to focus on risk to reward ratio, and I was also able to stay emotionally disciplined. These 4 rules was more than enough for me to tell myself that I'm like, okay, you know what? I know I do have a plan. I know my risks are managed. I will just set a limit entry over here and just wait. If I get stop loss, if I will get SL'd out, then I will get SL'd out. If it hits TP, then great. I followed my trading plan. Now, don't skip this part yet, because I'm gonna be mentioning the 5th rule that actually changed the entire game for me. So just stay until the end. Now, after this one right here, we can see that we did have a beautiful entry, and the next thing what the market did was the market started to tank to the downside. You see the market was pushing all the way to the downside with all the momentum. We did smash 3 TPs already. This was the 3rd TP right here, and remember, I was already on break even because we did smash 3 TPs already. It was more than enough for me. I left remaining my profits over the final TP, and you can actually take a look that I just waited and it ran all the way down. Look, it almost hit us on our break even, but you should understand that this is what I mean by being emotionally disciplined, because if I didn't have that idea of set and forget or being emotionally disciplined, I would have exited this trade. But I believe my trading plan, I know I managed my risk effectively, which is the 2nd rule, and my 3rd rule, which is focusing on risk to reward, and the 4th one being stay emotionally disciplined, was more than enough for me to understand that I gotta wait. And look at what happened, guys. Until the next day, we smashed this TP, the final TP, very cleanly. And remember, this is actually a signal I did actually send to you guys, and it's such a very clean setup. Now, moving on to the 5th rule, which is the most important to stay in the game longer, which is continuous learning and improvement. You guys should always review your past trades to actually understand what worked and what didn't. So that is the 5th rule. Now, the reason why I'm saying that this rule is very, very important, because that's the specific rule that will make you stay in the game longer, is because you should be able to understand why that specific trade worked and why that specific trade didn't work. Because you guys should understand that trading, in order to stay in this game longer, it's not only risk management, but the ability to be able to collect data. That is very, very important, right? If you're able to collect your data and to understand which specific setups are better, or which specific setups are S tier compared to the other setups, and which specific setups that you should avoid and which specific setups that you should take, that will make you stay longer in the game. Because like I mentioned, you should be adapting your trading style based on the market, because the market will constantly evolve throughout the years. And this is why collecting data is very important. This is why the fifth rule is going to be continuous learning and improvement. Okay, I want you guys to put your ego down and look at the market as not quote unquote being the master of the market, but look at the market as a mentor. The market is the greatest teacher you can have, and if you get your ego up, don't worry about it, because the market will always end up humbling you. Now remember, these are the 5 rules that will help you manage risk while also maximizing your potential for profit. Now these are the 5 key rules that help me become a profitable trader. So remember, I also did have another setup right now. I'm gonna be popping up in the screen. This was actually a signal continuation, which we were able to catch a short position over here. And remember, if you guys do want that trade breakdown as well, remember to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and most importantly, smash the notification bell, because we're gonna be dropping that continuation entry in the next few weeks. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Well, that's gonna be everything. If you guys want to be seeing my signals and be maximizing profits like the rest of the Surge Notify members, make sure you guys join the group down below. Well, I'll see you guys in the server.